interesting thing about Hawaii is that it's an island. So everything not from here has to be flown in, which can make things more expensive than on the mainland. But here in Hawaii, locally made goods don't have the same added fuel cost built in, so maybe they're cheaper. Or it still could be more expensive because it can be. White middle-class privileged foodies whose cars run on NPR tote bags, that's me, are willing to pay a premium for what we perceive to be better food. I would think that farmers market food would taste better because it doesn't have to be frozen and whatnot, but I don't think I could realistically tell the difference between an organic and a non-organic banana. My plan is to go grocery shopping at the farmers market and a conventional grocery store and compare the goods in terms of quality and price per item. Let's go. This morning and got a bunch of lovely goodies from the local farmers. I got some kale from Hope Farms and some mushrooms from the mushroom guy. And the goal, my friends, was to get exactly the same food from the local farmers market and from Whole Foods. Whoa, Whole Foods, I hear you saying. Why Whole Foods? There are a range of prices at grocery stores here in Hawaii, just like everywhere, and I know those price points going in. Costco and Walmart are less expensive than Target and Whole Foods, which are less expensive than Safeway and Foodland. So I really did want to pick somewhere in the middle, so that's how I landed at Whole Foods. We really are comparing only local versus non-local, and I'm not gonna lie, I am very curious. Milady. What you do from the Flufferkünste? I'm going to try to control for as many variables as I can by preparing the food from the farmer's market and the grocery store the same way, because science. So how do these two stack up? Right off the bat, the farmer's market gets a point for being outside. However, the grocery store gets a point for its availability every day of the week and for having things that the farmer's market might not. So even if you do a majority of your shopping at the farmer's market, you'll still have to go to the grocery store for yogurt and rolled oats. In terms of taste, which one is better? This is completely subjective, but I'm the one who's doing the grocery shopping, so it's my taste that matters anyway. Okay, this one was a surprise. I don't think I could realistically tell the difference between an organic and a non-organic banana. But the local bananas are better. The apple bananas don't taste like apple, by the way. If anything, they taste like pears. And they certainly are more flavorful. In comparison, the regular banana tastes like nothing. It's a banana. It has a fairly neutral taste. It's not a bad thing to thicken a smoothie or make some pancakes more interesting, but if I had to choose one to eat on its own, I would definitely go local. With the sweet potato, I accidentally cheated. There are a whole bunch of different varieties of sweet potato, and I got two different ones. From the farmer's market, I got an Okinawan sweet potato, which are purple and a lot heartier. From Whole Foods, I got a jewel sweet potato, which in addition to being orange, is a lot less dense. And I prefer jewel sweet potatoes. So in a test between the two, I found the Okinawan sweet potatoes a bit too dry for me. A point here goes to the grocery stores. I was really surprised with bread, actually. I feel like I'm saying that for everything. I got a loaf of sourdough from the farmer's market, which was good. But the rosemary sourdough loaf from Whole Foods is amazing. The sourdough from Whole Foods isn't prepackaged, which might also mean I'm cheating again. But this would be the bread I would buy, so it makes sense for me to do this comparison. Rosemary sourdough, oh my god, wins. I also wanted to include meat in this comparison too. When I went to the stall at the farmer's market, they said a goose attacked the chickens, and so they were out of chickens. It's the Untitled Goose Game in real life. Maybe I'll do a meat comparison another time when the goose is under control. Honk. Anyway, back to comparisons. The coconut milk isn't even a competition. Do people even drink coconut milk from a can? No. Gross. Why would you? The coconut milk from the farmer's market is legitimately something special. And now I get a jar every week. Coconut water, eggs, kale, mushrooms also all go to the farmer's market. They even look different. The grocery store versions aren't bad. Just when you have the local version, you just go, like there's something special there. The local eggs are ginormous, by the way. A side note about eggs. It so happens that a lot of mass-produced situations have white eggs, but it isn't their whiteness that makes them bad. It's their living conditions. There are a few different egg labels that indicate a different quality of life for the chickens. Cage-free is a solidly more humane choice than most industrial eggs. It means that the hens can walk around inside the house, but not necessarily that they get to go outside. Free range means they have access to the outdoors. Pasture raised is that the hens can go outside, can exhibit some of their natural behaviors by eating grass and bugs. Presumably this diet change is part of what helps to make the eggs taste better, so choose this option for yourself, if not for the hens. But also for the hens. Because pasture-raised isn't regulated, also look for that a third party has verified that pretty strict humane guidelines are met. There are minimum requirements for how much space the hens have and how long they have outside. There are air quality requirements and litter requirements because litter, and I just learned this, burn the hens' feet. If I Google the subject for more than 30 seconds, I risk becoming a vegetarian again. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. You can get local produce at the grocery stores here, but the exact same bag of local greens at the farmer's market is going to cost you more at the grocery store. Buying straight from the source, it turns out, is cheaper since you don't have to go through a middleman. So the farmer's market gets a point for price if you're intent on buying local. But what about prepackaged goods, which is cheaper? Calculating the price was a genuine pain in the butt. I didn't consider that farmers markets don't give you itemized receipts. So let's break down everyone's favorite thing, numbers. The farmers market eggs were $9 for a dozen. The Whole Foods price was $9.99 plus tax, which is $10.46. So the farmers market wins round one. And apple bananas come in at a whopping $1.79. That sounds like a lot for a banana. Coconut milk was $5.38 at the farmer's market and $3.99 for a can at Whole Foods. These are different size containers, so the price per ounce works out to about 51 cents per ounce and 31 cents per ounce. Is that even a fair comparison though? You're drinking one and you're putting the other in stuff. Whatever. The coconut water is also 51 cents per ounce. A single serving of coconut water at Whole Foods is 58 cents per ounce. So I'd say they're pretty similar. The farmer's market sweet potatoes were $2.50 a pound, and at Whole Foods it was $2.61. I just wanted to make sure you were still listening. The kale at the farmer's market is consistently cheaper, costing $2 to $3 per bunch. Kale at Whole Foods was $3.65. With only a slight edge, this round goes to the farmer's market. So it was $5 for a bag at the farmer's market. But I ate all the mushrooms before I weighed them. So I know I paid $5 for an unspecified amount of mushrooms. This makes price comparison a bit tricky. I'm going to guess 8 ounces, which is about the size of a regular mushroom container. At Whole Foods, the same kind of mushroom for what I assume is the same size container is $5.23. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that one a tie. Beets are $2.49 at the farmer's market and a whopping $4.18 per pound at Whole Foods. That's almost twice as much for beets. Where are you getting your beets? Narnia? A loaf of sourdough bread is also cheaper at the farmer's market by about $2. I would definitely be willing to pay extra though, because that rosemary sourdough is unbelievable. I also bought some lemons. Now, I didn't want to just straight eat lemon slices for science, but I will do a price comparison anyway. At the farmer's market, it was $2.50 for a bag of 3, and it was $3.14 for 3 lemons at Whole Foods. In conclusion, some items are in fact cheaper at the farmer's market, while others are more expensive, and others are about the same, which is absolutely the most boring outcome. You know what though? That's science. Sometimes science is boring.
Sarah just said reading is boring.
Perhaps more interestingly, what am I going to do about these conclusions? Because I live here and I do in fact need food. On the whole, the quality is better at the farmer's market. Since that is important to me, I am going to buy local when available, but I'm not going to stop going to the grocery store. If I'm craving strawberries and want to pay $8,000 for them, I gotta get those babies imported. The question will be, will I buy local from a grocery store now knowing that there's a huge price markup for the grocery store acting as the middleman? I mean, yeah, probably. Honestly, I think it'll come down to my mood. If I'm feeling energetic and excited and the mere sight of stacked bell peppers brings me joy, yeah, I'll likely splurge. If I'm hungry and feeling jaded and overrun, then I'll probably save a couple bucks. I guess we'll see. I definitely have a renewed desire to shop more humanely since I did all that egg research. I did just start growing basil, which solves a problem that I didn't have, but maybe one day I'll work up to strawberries. Or catnip. Let's be real, it's gonna be catnip next. Yeah, I'm single, why do you ask?